Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you. I am Sam, and this is by I almost said stitch again. This is by hook or by needles, and today's stitch is called Chevron rib. Once again, it's called a rib, but I would not use it as a ribbing on a jumper or a cuff or a collar. But as you can see, it is beautifully lacy. It is only a 4-row repeat, 2 of which are pearl, so there's only 2 rows to remember. And it is a multiple of 7 stitches plus 2. So I can't remember how many I put on. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 20, 21, 22. Well, that doesn't make sense. No, 20 more. Try that again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 23. That's right. Yep, take off 2 is 21. So I've got 3 repeats happening here. Okay. The stitch row count stays the same at the end of each row. So you can check your stitch count to make sure you're, progressing properly and carefully. Once again, I am using Bendigo Woolen Mills 100% Superwash Merino and my Hiya 4.5. Come on, focus. Get that out of the way. So you focus on this. No. Ooh, it does not want to focus, does it? Hang on. Let's see. Oh, it's terrible. You're going to take my word for it. You can just see it there, 4.5 millimeter, 7 US. So these are double pointed needles. You don't need double pointed needles for this. You could do this in the round. You could do this with straight needles. You could do this with circular needles, but work it flat. It's one of those stitches that is not too bad on the back. Once again, it's still, I wouldn't class it as reversible, but it's not completely different from the front. It's just the stitch. It's a stockinette sort of stitch. This is all knit stitches, and this is all your purl bumps. So yeah. So let's get started on our 4 rows. Row 1. We knit 2. And we knit 2 together. Now this is the start of our repeat. We knit 2 together. And we immediately increase again. So yarn over. We knit 1. We yarn over. So we're increasing again. But we're slipping a stitch. Then we're going to knit a stitch. And we're going to decrease by passing the slip stitched stitch over. And that brings our count back to what it was before. And then we're going to knit 2 again. And that is our full repeat. So let's do that again. We're going to start by, knitting 2 together. And that's actually one of my hairs for a change. Okay, knit 2 together, yarn over to replace the knit 2 together, knit 1, yarn over, that's creating a stitch because we're about to decrease 1, slip 1, knit 1, pass a slip stitch over. Was that in shot? I'll have to make sure the next sample is. And then we knit 2, and that's the end of the repeat. If you'd like, you can put stitch markers in between the repeats, so you know when you're at the end of a repeat or not. That's entirely up to you. So we knit 2 together. This is our final repeat. I'm going to go through both those stitches, the front legs of both. knit 2 together, yarn over, going to knit 1, I'm going to yarn over again, yep, slip 1 purlwise, knit a stitch, and then we're going to pass that slip stitch over. We've got 2 stitches remaining, and we just knit those 2. The even rows, being the 2nd and 4th row of the repeat, are just purled all the way across, purl stitches. So I won't show you that. I think most of you know how to just do a purl row, and I'll pause and I'll come back to show you how we do the 3rd row. Okay, so I've just done my purl row, and we're at the beginning of our 3rd row. We're going to knit 1, and here is where our repeat starts again. It starts again with a knit 2 together, yarn over, and then we're going to knit 3. 1, 2, and that 2nd stitch should be in line with this middle section. See how that lines up all the way down there? So if you find that when you're knitting this, it's not, you've possibly made an error somewhere. So that's 2 and 3. We yarn forward again. We slip 1 purlwise, knit 1, and then we pass that slip stitch over. And that is, the end of the repeat. So we do that again. So effectively you're knitting 2 together to decrease, you're yarning over immediately to replace that decrease, and knitting 3. 1, 2, and again the 2 is the middle stitch, and 3. Yarn over again, so we're adding a stitch before a decrease because a decrease is coming up. We slip stitch purlwise, knit the next stitch, and pass that slip stitch over. And then we knit 2 together, yarn forward, knit 3, 1, 2, 3. We yarn forward or yarn over. We've got 3 stitches left. We've just done an increase, so now we need to do a decrease. We slip 1 purlwise, we knit 1, and then we pass that slip stitch over. 1 stitch remaining, and we just knit that. Okay. The last row of the repeat is a purl row. I'm going to do the purl row on camera this time because I want to tell you a bit more about this stitch and where you can find the written instructions. In the description box, I'm going to place a link to both my Facebook page where you'll be able to find this stitch, and I will also place the link to my YouTube channel's posts tab where also you will find the written instructions. Now you can do what I have been doing if you like. I've actually been keeping all of these samples because something I've realized over the years is I do a lot of the same design or a lot of the same patterns, and yet there's so many beautiful stitches out there. So I'm actually keeping basically a swatch of all of these. Everything you see me knitting here or crocheting here, I'm keeping. I'm putting it in a Ziploc bag. and I'm writing the name of the stitch on it, and the page number of the stitch book, or whatever, where I found it, so that I can later refer to the written. Well, I know where the written pattern is because I'm putting it in the Facebook page, but so I've got a record of it, and in this way, what I can do, I mean, I've already got quite a few, and I'm going to be able to, if I ever decide, like, okay, I want to make a scarf, what stitch should I do? I can go and look at all my little bags, and I can find a stitch that's nicely reversible, and I'll think, yeah, I haven't done that stitch for a long time. It's pretty, it's reversible, and I enjoy doing it. And it's probably something we could all be doing when we're making anything. Those of us who don't do a gauge swatch, it's probably not a bad idea to start doing gauge swatches, just so you can keep them for reference for later on, to show that this is what this stitch looks like. But anyway, this is our finished project. It is called the Chevron. As you can see, it's called a chevron because it goes up and down, and the bottom actually does have a bit of a shell edge to it, but yeah, it's nice. I like it. I do. It's very, I like lacy stitches, though. I must admit I'm a little bit biased. Okay, so I am going to leave it there. As I say, any information you need will be in the description box. If there is anything you need to ask me, please ask. If I cannot answer it, I will find the answer. And if I cannot verbally or type an answer because it's too complicated or whatever, I will do another little short video or something to show you what to do if that's the sort of question you're asking. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. That way you won't miss any of these, I think, beautiful stitches. And there are many coming up. I am doing one knit stitch per week. That will be come out on a Thursday, my time, 8 a.m. And I am doing crocheted stitches, which will come out on my time, 8 a.m. on a Monday morning. So lots to be learning and seeing, and I'm hoping I can bring you stitches that perhaps you've never seen before or you've never tried before. You might have seen them and thought, no, that looks too difficult. I'm going to hopefully really simplify them and show you that, A, knitting isn't that hard, and B, most of the knitting stitches that you see out there are just a combination of these stitches, just like crochet is. So yeah, please take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.